There is something deeply wrong with the bread sitting on your table, and most people can feel it, even if they cannot quite explain it. For most of human history, bread was, well, survival itself. It fueled armies, carried societies through famine, and sustained people through winters that, honestly, would cripple a modern household. Today, that same food leaves people bloated, exhausted, inflamed, and, hungry an hour later. This isn't nostalgia or some sort of romantic history. It is a documented break between how bread was made for thousands of years and how it is manufactured today. And once you understand that break, you can never look at modern bread the same way. Before we get into it, if this kind of forgotten survival knowledge matters to you, just take a second to like the video, share it with someone who still thinks bread is harmless, leave a comment with your own experience eating bread, and, well, subscribe to Warfront Survival. This channel exists to recover the practical truths history solved long before modern industry complicated them. Now let's get into the real story. Why medieval bread kept people alive instead of making them sick. In the 14th century, a working peasant in England consumed between 2 and 3 pounds of bread every single day. Bread provided roughly 70% of total calories. These were not sedentary people. They hauled stone, ploughed frozen fields, cut timber, and built structures that still stand centuries later. There was no epidemic of diabetes, no widespread gluten sensitivity, no inflammatory bowel diseases destroying entire populations. Bread did not weaken them, it sustained them. The reason is simple. Medieval bread was food, not a product. It was made from wheat varieties that evolved alongside human digestion. It was milled slowly, fermented patiently, and baked without chemical shortcuts. The human body understood it. How modern bread became an industrial weapon against the gut. Pick up a supermarket loaf today and read the label. Enriched flour, seed oils, stabilizers, preservatives, conditioners, and bleaching agents. This is not accidental. Modern bread is engineered to survive weeks on a shelf, not hours in a stomach. Roller milling strips away the bran and germ, removing most of the fibre, fats and micronutrients. What remains is pure starch, absorbed so quickly it spikes blood sugar harder than table sugar. Then comes speed. Modern dough is mixed, risen and baked in just a matter of hours. There's really no time for fermentation to break down gluten, neutralize phytic acid or reduce lectins. So what reaches your gut is, well, raw, aggressive protein combined with fast-absorbing starch. Your body reacts exactly as it should to an unnatural food. Inflammation is not a failure. It is actually a warning signal. The wheat itself is, no longer the same organism. Modern bread wheat did not exist before the mid-20th century. It was bred for yield, uniformity, and mechanical harvesting. Ancient wheat, like einkorn emmer and spelt, had simpler genetic structures and, honestly, weaker gluten. That weakness is exactly what made them digestible. Modern wheat contains altered gluten proteins, especially aggressive gliadin fragments that resist digestion and provoke immune responses. Now, This is not just theory. Multiple university studies have shown that heritage wheat triggers far lower inflammatory reactions than modern varieties. People who believe they cannot eat bread often discover to their surprise that they can tolerate traditionally prepared ancient wheat without symptoms. The problem was never wheat as a concept. The problem really is what we turned it into. Fermentation was, the real survival technology. Medieval bakers did not rush. Dough rested for 12 to 24 hours, sometimes even longer. Wild yeast and lactic acid bacteria did the work that modern factories skip. Fermentation predigested starches, softened gluten, and unlocked minerals trapped in the grain. Iron, zinc, and magnesium became bioavailable instead of, blocking absorption. This slow process also stabilized blood sugar. Medieval bread released energy gradually. It fed muscle and labor without crashing insulin levels. That is why bread could dominate the diet without creating metabolic disease. Modern bread, on the other hand, hits the bloodstream like sugar and leaves the body starving again shortly after. Chemical agriculture? Well, it really finished the damage. Modern wheat is sprayed repeatedly, often including glyphosate shortly before harvest, just to dry the crop. Residues, you see, remain in the grain. Glyphosate disrupts gut bacteria and weakens the intestinal barrier. Medieval wheat grew in rotated fields, fertilized with manure, harvested by hand, and stored dry. There was absolutely no chemical interference between soil and stomach. The result today, it's rather predictable. Rising autoimmune disease, insulin resistance, and digestive disorders appear precisely alongside industrial bread. This is not coincidence. It is, quite simply, cause and effect. If you want bread that actually behaves like food again, you must reject speed and uniformity. Look for heritage wheat, stone-milled flour, and true sourdough fermentation. Einkorn, emmer, and spelt are not health fads, really. They are survival crops, refined over thousands of years. Making your own sourdough is not complicated, only slower, and that slowness is, the entire point. If access is limited, just reduce bread consumption and rely on properly prepared grains like oats or barley. Medieval people ate bread because they had to. You have choices. Use them wisely. Why does this knowledge matter now? The medieval peasant was not ignorant. He was living inside a system optimized for human survival, not profit. We abandoned that system for convenience and scale. In doing so, we broke one of humanity's most important foods. Bread did not fail us. We failed bread. If this guide helped you see food through a historical survival lens, subscribe to Warfront Survival and share this video. The knowledge that kept people alive when life was brutal still works today. It was never lost. It was buried.